Senator Bellemare. Thank you, Madam Speaker. So I didn't write out my speech today, but I prepared to speak based upon everything that I've heard in the Banking Committee. So I'd like to thank my colleague, Senator Gignac, for all the work that he's done, as well as Senator Carignan for being the sponsor. Firstly, I'd like to give a little bit of context on this bill. What is foreign direct investment in Canada? What does this mean for us? Let's look at the context a bit more. So to give you an idea of this, foreign investment in Canada represented in 2021 3.3% of our GDP. That was the value of foreign direct investment, 3.3% of GDP. And it is increasing. As Senator Gignac said, right now, we are one of the countries receiving the most foreign direct investment. So this 3.3% is going up. Between 2012 and 2021, on average, foreign direct investment was 2.1% of GDP. On the other hand, Canadian investment in foreign countries, because Canadians also invest directly in other countries, represented 4.9% of GDP in 2021. And on average, over 10 years, Canadian investment was 3.3% of GDP. So we receive foreign direct investment, but we also invest in other countries. And what we invest outside of the country is more than what we receive, which is concerning. But I looked to the OECD. When we look at the OECD and foreign direct investment on average, foreign direct investment in OECD countries was made up 1.1% of their GDP. And now how much are they investing themselves in other countries? 2.1% of their GDP. So generally, countries do invest more outside of the country than what they receive in foreign direct investment. So it's similar for Canada. That being said, Canada does have higher numbers than the OECD average. How does this compare to global investment in Canada? On average, investment in Canada in 2021 made up 19.7% of GDP. So what does this mean? Well, we also have to note that investment in Canada is going down in recent years. Foreign direct investment makes up about 10% of our total investments. So this is significant, and we have to pay attention to this. Our prosperity depends upon this, especially given the current context in Canada, because productivity in absolute value terms is going down. So we have significant investment, and foreign direct investment is a significant element of this. So we were able to hear from witnesses. But what we need to understand is that C-34 amends the Canada Investment Act. But this is done through a national security perspective. But I'm going to come back to this. So what concerns did we hear from witnesses? Well, we can put them into three categories. Firstly, we heard from witnesses that are concerned about the current geopolitical context, the Cold War. And so they are concerned about certain foreign investments. And Senator Carignan explained this well. But we also received certain written concerns from others throughout the country that worry that these regulations will be too bureaucratic and will actually deter investment in Canada and therefore would harm prosperity in Canada. And so we have to look at the balance between both sides of this issue. And we do see a lot of recurring concerns. For example, the fact that we have to talk about these intangible investments. And these are often related to intellectual property. So we do have a colleague here who supports this a lot, and we talk about this in the Banking Committee, but we have to keep in mind this new type of intangible investment. So we're missing this a little bit in the bill. And we didn't talk much about prosperity because we focus more on security in the bill. So we've made some observations. Firstly, Senator Deakin made observations on the fact that we need to take into account intangible investments and that we may need to specify things a little more clearly. So we received a note from Mr. Jim Valsili, who had already come to the committee and is already well known for what he did with BlackBerry. He said that today's economy is founded upon knowledge and data, and it relies more and more on machine learning capital. In this type of economy, foreign direct investment is extractive. That's a key word. It means that technology, knowledge, and technology assets, leaders in the field, and etc., can easily leave countries that are receiving foreign direct investment. The risks for prosperity and security do not depend upon the type and the size of the investor, but on the nature of the investment and the risks that it poses for our security. So he suggests that it's essential that Canada strengthen the federal government's governance ability for today's economy. And that's why Mr. Balsili, amongst others, suggest that Canada needs to create an independent body that will have the necessary expertise and ability to assess all the aspects of a transaction and supply to the minister an overview of the cost-benefit ratio. So the United States, for example, has this type of body to assess foreign direct investments. So the UK has this, the United States has this, as well as Australia. So the suggestion is that Canada create a similar organization in our country. So this is a bill that focuses to improve national security, but doesn't necessarily focus enough on the geopolitical context. So our observations have been that it would be important for us, for parliamentarians, for Canada, to take a look at the Canada Investment Act and to modify it in a more detailed manner in the future. So to move forward with C-34, but we request that 3 years from now, ministers come and share an update on what our goals are, what we have accomplished and what we still need to do, and to broaden our review of the Canada Investment Act through a lens of security and prosperity, because currently, with investment trends, we can see that we need to have a special focus on this. And so you will be able to find my observations attached to the bill. It's rather short, but given on the topic of intellectual property and data, it said that they consider that these elements are important factors for the economy and that regulations reflect this.
And we are also requesting that the Innovation Minister report to parliamentarians on whether or not the bill meets its objectives in 3 years. Thank you. I can respond to your questions.